pig depilation.
Yeah.
Or pig dehairing.
Dehairing.
The hair of pigs.
Hair removal.
Yes. Why should we remove hair from pigs as opposed to its evil twin brother, which is skinning pigs?
Skinning pigs.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's the same reason that guides almost every step in the harvesting of livestock, and it's to maximize the quality and the quantity of the harvest.
Yep, that's what I wrote in my notes. Quality and quantity.
Yeah.
So break that down. What do each of those mean for you?
So it is a fact that you will get more pig if you scald and scrape as opposed to skin. Because a pig has not a hide, it has skin. So unlike a rabbit is probably a good example, or a deer or a camel or a lamb or a goat or a cow, pigs don't have hides. There's no seam separating their epidermis from their subcutaneous fat. It's on there. Like, you're not going to wedge your hand in there and fist it off. It's not going to happen, because it's a different thing. They get freckles, they get melanomas, they get sunburns. It's skin, not hide. And so to remove the skin of a pig is to remove necessarily a degree of fat. And there's certainly varying degrees of skill in the skinning of pigs. Some guys are real good at it, and they'll hug the skin, and leave the maximum amount of fat on there. And that is easier to do if the pig is real fat. You have a little more forgiveness. You have 2 or 3 inches of back fat. But especially if you have a lean pig and you're working with like 3/4 of an inch, half an inch of back fat, it's really hard to not remove most of that fat in the skinning.
Right.
Very tricky, and it's dearly lost. I mean, it's because a lean pig is already so deprived of its wanted fat. So you just lose more, and it's not just fat that you lose. It's a certain kind of fat. The nearest seam in beneath the skin of a pig that would readily release the hide of a pig is not in between skin and fat, but betwixt back fat and other fat. So you actually tend to, if you're not real good at it, you tend to remove almost all the back fat from a pig.
Oh, wow.
Because that is the nearest seam. And I've pointed that seam out before. I could point it out right now. Should we show people?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. See? It's a pig. And they might be able to see it sort of. Let's see if I can get the
you can
light.
tell.
Oh, yeah. See, it's a very faint line in that light.
That versus that.
Yeah. My finger's gesturing towards it. So that's back fat. That's not. If you're going to be technical about it. And the fat that is just under the skin, the subcutaneous fat, is much harder and denser. And so it chops better in a grinder, whereas it is less likely to smush and become pasty. And you want both kinds of sausage fat in a sausage, but you most definitely want the back fat.
That outer layer that would normally be taken off if you're knifing the skin off.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and what real quick, what breed is this?
This is a mix. This is a Craigslist breed.
Okay, so that's why we're getting about a half inch of back fat.
Back fat proper.
About maybe an inch at the most of, what would you call this again?
I don't know. The fat that belongs on each chop. That's what I call it.
Right. Yeah, whereas on like a normal pig or
E, B, E, C.
Okay. And on like a Gloucester like we raise, you'd get
Tufabetch. What? Sorry. Yeah, on a Gloucester Old Spot, you could get a lot more, or any, like a lard pig, man, we're talking 4 inches.
Yeah.
Huge variation.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's more forgiveness if some of it gets lost.
There is, and that's assuming we're skinning. The other thing that you lose in skinning is, of course, this skin. But you can see the tail here, for those who are watching this on the YouTube. The tail is skin. Like, that's its food value. Mm-hmm. And the trotters also, which you can't quite see, it's skin. The head is it's skin with a little bit of fat and fascia underneath it, and then skull. So if you skin a pig, you lose a significant portion, if not all, of the food value of tail, trotters, and head.
All the extremities.
And that's really how I measure it That's a better metric, because we could definitely weigh the skin that you remove and then figure out what percentage of the hanging weight it would be and get a mere quantitative metric that way. But really the qualitative one is the rub. And if you like to cure things and eat fat and use fat culinarily, then you're losing like 70% of the food value of the pig.
Oh my gosh.
In our household.
Exactly.
Like no prosciuttos. You need skin for prosciuttos.
Okay.
You know, you can cure bacon without skin. Fine. You can make, you know, boiling or simmering Easter type hams without it. But for us, so much of the value of the pig is in its massive amounts of cured fat stores that we use as the medium in which all the things are cooked. Plus there's crackling on the roasts.
Plus the skin itself. When you remove the skin,
right,
you remove the skin.
Yeah, right.
And you can't eat it on your roast.
No, because that's hairy and gross. But the skin is delicious, and it will crisp up for you on larger roasts that you cook for a longer period of time, like a shoulder roast or a Boston butt. I leave the skin on all of those, and they crisp up into chips. It's called pork rinds or cracklins or chicharrones, and it's magical and it's amazing. And
you can witness the magnanimity of this in our Anatomy of Thrift series, where in the side butchery episode, you guys filmed a shoulder roast, I believe.
Yeah, Boston butt.
And right as, I don't know if it was Beethoven playing in the background or something, but right like as the climactic moment of the symphony.
And it always is.
You crack, you just chip off a little corner of that roast. And it was perfectly timed on Andrew's part. Yeah. But
because the skin has become crisped.
Yeah.
It achieves maximum crisposity.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it's incredibly good. Another thing that is essential, you know, the pig's skin around the belly area gets really thin because it's the part that's, you know, that's the nethers. It's not exposed to the sun and the rain, and so it's thinner down there around the belly. And the fat is really stretchy to accommodate the articulation of the back legs. And so when a pig is skinned, it's very easy to take away a lot of belly fat, which would otherwise be bacon. So
right.
That's real bad.
Yeah.
And again, you know, there's guys that are real good at it. They can pretty much almost skin a whole pig by leaving the majority of the fat on the carcass.
Are there any breeds that are more or less stubborn in releasing their hair?
All pigs are pigs.
Okay.
Even woolly pigs, even Mangalitsa's that have that downy underlayer and the long curly hairs, scald just like any other pig. In fact, I would say they're easier because you have that long curly hair. You don't even need to use a scraper. You just grab the curls. It's a lot, and you just pull it off by handfuls.
Yeah.
I would say if there is a significant advantage to any kind of pig over another in terms of ease of scrapage and scalditude, it would be lard pigs over lean pigs. And why would that be? I don't know. But lard pigs tend to be a little easier on the scald and scrape. And maybe they have more subcutaneous insulation in the form of fat, that they just don't have thick scurfs and thick coats. They're already plenty warm. So they hold on to their coat lightly.
Okay.
Comes off a little easier.
Neat.
Yeah.